then I try to make sure you understand first thing for the textual. If you already done on the assignment tech one last semester, you don't have to do upload that. You can do it, but you don't have to upload for tech one. But two things we have you still have to do. On of the e-calculation, then tech you also have to do and have to upload it. And on of the quiz, you have to do it. Okay? Regular homework, you don't have to. Also, for my understanding, on the next fall coming, for the university, FDSU or UCSD, I know for sure everyone have to return to the school, no exception. Okay, so we will be doing, I believe, the same thing. So at that time, whoever we already done for the lecture, then only thing the lab, you have to get through it. And normally, the lab, you get 2 rooms, 240, 250. And we'll be using those 2 rooms for the lab. And the lab will be open from 2 p.m. and will be end at about 8:30. Okay? Monday to Friday. The lecture will still be online. One day for the Tech 1 and one day for the Tech 2. And that will be scheduled for you who not done on left vote or who not done for the D-Lab in Tech 2. Okay? Then you will see you can get the schedule for that. So you get any question?
One question, Mr. Fan.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is what you just explained considered to be what's called hybrid?
Explain what?
Minimizing the class with only a certain amount of students. How many students will be allowed in the lab?
On the lab or lab?
In the building.
In the building?
Yes.
That will depend. Okay, depend on the student. If I'm looking into the history, he doing okay on the lecture. Then will be scheduled. If the people not doing anything, then they have to wait it. Okay, they have to doing on the lecture before I allow them to get into the lab. I think you get too many people.
Priority would be first-time students versus returning.
Yeah. You mean the first-time student returning everyone?
Yeah, just to make sure the first-time students, they receive their certificates and their time for their certificates versus, like, say, myself, who's a continuing education. I technically can wait, but I'd still like to get access. So I understand priority.
But to you, that's no problem for individual. The thing is you not try to do the left vote. You're not scheduled for doing a left vote anyway.
Correct.
And the other people, only I talking about the people doing the left vote, the reason is we don't have enough equipment.
Right.
18 system, okay? And every time we run only get 18 students for, I think, believe 2 hours or 2.5 hours. So that means one day I can able to get about 36 students. That means whoever can go in from 3 to 5 or 5 to 8:30. So that's good enough. 36 students for one day, 5 days. Then you can get how many students for a week?
So you'll be doing 2 sessions in a day, just in case. That would you say 3 to 5 and then 5 to 7?
That depends. If you prefer week one, some people working, then they cannot be at a 2 to 5 or then they have to be doing a later section.
What's the priority again? Who students gonna go?
However, on last semester,
What about this semester? Are they not
and also,
allowed to go?
yeah, the same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah, we schedule the same thing
So is it by name, by alphabetical order, or
by the hour.
no? I mean by for students to go to the lab by alphabetical order, or just
no,
by
Basically, depending on first thing you have to tell me which hour prefer.
Oh, I see.
And I will be separated any student from, you can start from 2 o'clock, 2:30 to 5, or 5 to 7:30, depend. Then we can make a schedule.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Only thing is you get your name, then you can be in the lab. Otherwise, you cannot. They still try to keep the spacing distant. So that's why maximum I can get the 18 system to run the lab in 2 rooms. The lecture room then now will be the lab. The thing is they don't want to put about 60 students in one small room. No way. So the lecture still be on Zoom. One day for take one and one day for take two.
So, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I will just accept that I am not going to be getting this paper because I don't feel comfortable going in. I'm just going to stay. So, is there a way that I can just stay in for the lectures, but just not go in for the lab, and I accept that I'm not going to get the paper? I just don't want to catch COVID, and from everything that I've read about the vaccine, I don't want to. There's not going to be enough time for for everyone in my house to get it, and they've said that you can still transmit it, even if they don't. They can't guarantee that you can't transmit it after getting the vaccine. So, is there a way that I can just learn the stuff for my own benefit and then not do the lab, or will I get kicked out of the class?
Okay, now that's not the problem. Okay, you say we get a problem to get into the lab for any problem like COVID-19. Someone still don't want to be there at this time. Okay, so that be fine to me. Okay, you still in the program. We not drop you until you let me know you want to drop out. I can drop you right away. And this is a continuing education, not like a college.
Okay, well, thank you. I'll stay here and learn the information.
No big deal. We try to have anyone want to learn. Okay, so my job is really a very, very difficulty. How can I run it between a quite different level? Okay, and I still working on that, try to figure out a way I can have the children with don't have enough really basic in order they still want to learn, but they don't have a much basic, then we try to help them. For example, for this semester, we can get May and also a half month of June, then we be end for the spring. So I think from the middle of May, I will be start over. For the student, they don't have a but basic, they cannot following what's going on. Okay, in order to help them.
Just a quick side note. um, Like some of the other students, I came into this not knowing anything about the subject. I've been reviewing all the lectures and I understand almost everything now. So I thank Mr. Pham and Sam and Mr. Tai for such a good course. And looking forward to being in the lab in a limited way. Anyway, thank you.
Yeah, that you're welcome. Normally, you get through the lecture, and now what the important thing is, try to teach you to do the lab. When you try to get through the level, no big deal, no problem at all. And then I believe you can be a good technician. And we will be helping you if you want to looking for the technician job. Okay. And depending on the individual, we can give a recommendation. That's
Appreciate it.
what happened in the past for too many years. And my student in most defense company, like General Atomic, Northrop, or most of the defense company, I get a lot of students inside. And when they open, they let me know. Then I can pass through for your guy. Okay?
Mr. Pham,
That's
I
that's
would really
right.
like to attend the lab because I really need it for my work. It's not like I understand most of this stuff, but I still not familiar with the equipment. So if you can put my name on the list, that way I can practice more with the equipment.
Oh, sure.
I feel the same
I
way.
know
I
you.
could use practice with the oscilloscope for sure.
Question,
Okay, now, at that time, I will try to see I can teach like Mr. Thai. Right now, he do it for the people really want to learn with me. The thing is right now, you understand in the program, you have to spend money to bought the equipment so Mr. Thai can do. Then money from out, not from the school. So each instructor will be put 100, 200, 300, and we can bought the equipment. So right now I let the Mr. Thai using it. The thing is he's teaching for the left vote. However, when we go back to the class, Mr. Thai no longer teaching on the Zoom. You have to be on the lab to help your guy. Okay?
Mr. Pham?
Yeah.
Regarding schedule, I understand before the students, you had a time slot. You had a list for time for each student to show up.
Right.
And I know trying to have the students scheduled for time is the question. Are you going to make an Excel sheet with student names so that the students can help you fill out the Excel sheet, like a download as to what days and what time that they will be available so that you could help yourself or help the students understand uh, what days and times that they'll be able to be there so that you can help balance anything that's like say myself or somebody else waiting for a slot, waiting for the time. Will there be a form that we could help fill out for time?
For sure. You know, after I try get a give it to the guy the form, you just fill it in the time you want to do. Then I working with that, and I given out final schedule. Then will be displayed on the website. You want to see it, you can click on that. You can see what day you will be doing, what circuit board you will be working on, what time.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. That's what we already know how to organize it for a long time. Okay, any else? Any question? Is it Matt? Get a question or what?
No,
Gonna do that
Okay.
graph over divider.
If it's not, I go back with the JFET for the voltage divider with the graphic Mr. Smith asking for. So I will using my transfer to my iPad. Okay, last time we be JFET channel, right?
Yes, basically just want to see you go over again how to get point A and point B.
Okay, that's no problem. That here now. Let's see. Okay, that's a voltage divider, right? Can see that? Not sad yet. Okay.
Yes, you see.
You see now?
Yes.
Okay. So for the voltage divider, bias, normally they given you the graphic. Using the graphic, you can solve the problem. Okay, but most time they not want to using graphic. So that's why if it's not given a graphic, they have to give you a little more information. For example, they have to give you the current ID, okay? Or if they not given the current ID, then they given you the VD, okay? If you get a VD, then you will able to calculate the current ID. Or they have to give you the voltage VS, okay? So if you get a VS, you're able to calculate the current IS. IS ID will be the same, okay? The problem is, how do we calculate the ID? And you already know the formula to calculate the ID. ID equal IDSS square, right? Time 1 minus VGS over VGS of square. That equation is really very tough when they get to solving that. So that's why either they're using a graphic or they must be giving you more information. Now we're talking about graphic. First thing, if you see
Excuse me, Mr. Fab. Number one, calculate VG or VB.
okay, that means also I know. First thing is they given you divider, okay, and also the graphic. Now we're talking about basic things you must be done. You must be calculate the VG, okay, right here. You need to calculate that first.
Yeah, in your note, VB. You should,
So this slide shows VB, it should be VG.
Yeah, that will be VG. V get. And V get will be equal what we already given to you here. Okay. Equal calculate that have to be V get. Okay. I have wrong one. Will be equal VDD times R2 divide R1 plus R2. Same thing in bipolar. Okay. So that's why you get VG first. And if we calculate here, will be equal 4.8 volt. If you get any confusing, any question, anything, you have to bring it up right away. Okay. Then this is the S right here. That is the D here. So now you need to number 2, need to calculate the VGS. That means here. And the VGS will be equal VG minus VS. However, VS will be ID times RS. And we already know VG equal 4.8. So now 4.8 minus ID times RS will be 3.3 K. Okay, so this is the equation we'll be using. Okay, instead you take the VGS, substitute into the equation to calculate the ID. ID equal IDSS times 1 minus VGS divide VGS off. And now you're solving the equation, you get the ID. That's a tough, very hard to do. So now, if they're using the graphic, first thing you need to get the 2 point A and B. So you can able to draw the line. Okay. In here, they say to get the point A, you will be set ID equal 0. So if ID equals 0, you substitute into the equation here. Okay, so you can get the 4.8 volt minus ID, get a 0, so you get 4.8 volt. That's the point A. And now you go to the graphic. Okay, point A equals 4.8 volt. So right now you get the point A right here. Okay, any question how to get point A? Okay, if no question, what we need to do is get the point B. Okay.
Mr. Pham, just real quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
Up, your point A covers what? Number 1, number 2, and number 3.
Point A will be, I said right here, right? Start number 3, right?
Okay, all right, right. Okay, go ahead. Got it. Go ahead.
Okay. Now we need to get the point B. To get point B, you will be set VGS equal 0. That means in this equation here, VGS equal 0. So now you can get the ID times 3.3K equal 4.8. That's what we already doing for you right here. ID times 3.3K equal 4.8. That given to you, you're able to get an ID equal 1.45 milliamp. That is a point B. Now you go into here. This is a point B right here. At point B, okay, VGS equal 0. However, ID equal 1.45. And after you get A and B, you draw the line. Then you can get the Q point right here. And that Q point, you want to get the ID, you go to the right, this time right here. They give it to you, ID equal 1.8 milliamp. You want VGS, you going down. And that's why you get VGS equal minus 1.48 volt. So that's is it an answer to the question for Mr. Smith?
Yes, can I see your other screen, the other one? Yeah, right there. Thank you. Up a little bit. Okay, thank you.
Okay, now the key point is calculate the IDQ. We done. VGSQ, we done. Now, if you want to calculate the VS, what VS equal?
Well,
VS in here.
IDRS.
ID time RS. Good, correct. How do we calculate the VD? Right here.
IDRD.
I want VD
12
VDD.
minus IDRD.
Yeah, VDD.
minus ID
I-
time RD. Correct? Okay, VD again. VDD. Enter ID time RD. And if you want the VS, then VS will be VD. My VDS will be VD minus VS.
So again, it comes down to Ohm's law. Ohm's law.
Can you say again, Risa?
It's Ohm's law, right? It's all Ohm's law.
Right. That's just a very, very basic. When I say VAB, you have to tell me first thing, I don't care what, have to be VA minus VB. Or VDS have to be VD minus VS. At the beginning, we already get to that basic thing, okay? So any more question on that voltage divider?
Just a comment,
I-
Mr. Tim.
Okay, now, right?
I was just gonna comment, I think a percentage of the confusion for any student, Ohm's law is taught, but we're working, usually it's I, E, and ohms, right? Or. But when you start seeing the extra letters like G, S, and D, that can become confusing.
Okay,
Yeah.
I understand that. This is not basically exactly the Ohm law. Ohm law will be what? V equal R times I, right? That means the voltage equal the current times the resistance. Or I equal V divided to R, or I equal V divided R. Okay? That is the basic of law. If you love going back into the handout for the DC, then that is the basic. And now we're talking about the voltage. The voltage means the different level between 2 points. When I say VD, I want VD, how much you understand VD? By if you're working on the left, I want to measure the VD. Then normally you can using the meter, DMM, or the oscilloscope to do your measurement. If I'm talking about the DMM, then I say VD, you must understand it high side of the meter will be connected to the point D, and the low side must be connected to the common ground of the circuitry. That's only telling you one thing. When they measure only single point, then they must be connect the other meter to the common ground of the circuitry. But if I say I want to measure the VDS, then the high side have to be connected to D, and the low side of the meter will be connected to S. That's what I expect you able to know how to do it. That is your job, technician job. And we don't care anything else.
So I had a quick kind of a side question. So this, yeah, we're substituting the drain, the gate, and the source for the collector, emitter, and base. But is in the practical, maybe Richard could speak to this. Is there a time that this transistor is better than the bipolar? Is it based on heat, or why is this one better?
Now, who cares? That is not your job.
Okay,
You is a tester, testing.
okay,
Okay? If you want to go to the university,
all right.
get a major on the double E. Maybe
There is a philosophical difference, which doesn't matter for technicians, but FETs are like old-time vacuum tubes. And none of you know what a vacuum tube is, but Mr. Pham may know what a vacuum tube is. It's just two different kinds of technologies. A bipolar junction transistor is a different animal. A FET is a throwback to something very much like an old vacuum tube.
Yeah, that goes back to the 60s.
Yeah. You know,
Okay.
But you know, for present purposes, you don't really need to understand that unless you want to go back and study the history of electronics. And if you do want to study the history of electronics, there's a great book called The Art of Electronics. I forget the authors, but it's a great book. I recommend it. It teaches the history of electronics from the very beginning.
So which one's more readily used at this time?
that's a JFET.
Yeah. Bipolar junction transistors are not in use very much anymore. Most of the current technology is Mosfet technology, and I'm not sure Mr. Pham will take us on that course. The supercomputers in your iPhone are all what's called CMOS. And you'll learn about that, I'm sure. So I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, basically, you know, if you have to deal with that JFET, then you're able to go through what I already did to you. You're able to do it. That'd be fine to me. Okay? Don't try to confuse it. The thing is, you have to depending on the level. And now most of the equipment, most of the things happen right now, they're using JFET more than bipolar. JFET will be a very high input impedance, okay? And most of the equipment like inside cell phone, inside a circuit, they're using JFET. Okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Now, we will be get the one will be for the Mosfet, okay? That means the Mosfet, okay? But before we try to go through that, it's not a more much detail inside. So I want you to doing this circuitry here. So that guarantee on the quiz, you can do it.
VGS is on volt.
VGS what?
Minus 8 volts, not milliamps.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Okay, try to say, can you do it? You understand what the name for the circuitry, what type of the bias?
Fixed bias.
Fixed bias.
Fixed bias. And the fixed bias, and you know for sure, you can get the VG here equal what?
0.
Come on.
Isn't the VG supposed to have a negative voltage?
Yeah, -1 volt.
Oh, -1.
-1. Okay, the thing is you get a minus here, -1 volt. Okay, and no current through the 10 amp. Okay, so go ahead and try to see, can you do it? If you can do, then the quiz coming will be a no problem. That's what I try to help you. At least you can get C. Okay, and you know that will be draining here. That will be it. So the first thing is you have to calculate the VGS equal VG minus VS. Okay, can you count it? Let me know what your answer.
-1 volt by inspection.
Who get the answer?
-1 volt.
Okay, so what the ID equal? If you want to calculate the ID, you must be using the formula. using that formula to do the calculation. So if you substitute into that, and you can see ID equal 10 milliamp. 1 minus VGS, we calculate to get a minus 1. Divide minus 8 and square. That's how you can get.
Point 156 milliamp.
What?
0.156 milliamp.
You say 20?
No, 156.
One,
0.25.
25.
Yeah.
Okay, so one student get answer 1.25 milliamp. Is it you get the same or you get a different? If I already given you the formula 10 milliamp times 1 minus 1 divide minus 8 and square, you cannot get the answer. They're telling me you can stay until my retire.
I'm thinking that 1/8 is 0.125, so that 1 minus 0.125 is 0.725. So the answer is not 1.25 milliamps, but 7.25.
So
You got it, Richard.
what the right answer?
7.65.
Okay,
No,
so another one gets 7.
7.25, I think.
Yeah, the calculation that come in to calculate 7.65625 milliamp.
You say 6.25?
Yes, sir.
7.65
7.6, correct. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
milliamp.
7.65.
That's what I said. I already given you everything. 10 milliamp times 1 minus 1 divide minus 8 squared. And you cannot get the right answer. You get a little problem.
I still think it's 7.25 milliamps.
Okay, then now you already get that will be a 7.65. VGS equal minus 1 volt. And now you need to calculate the VD. Again, VD, VDD minus ID time RD. Okay? You get any question about this problem? Make sure you're able to calculate the VD, and then if you want to calculate VDS, then VD minus VS, and VS equals 0. So VDS will be equal VD.
So I'm not getting the right answer. So do you mind if I just run by what I'm doing and tell me if I'm where I'm making the mistake?
Okay, which one? ID, VGS, or VD?
The IDSS thing up here with the VGS and the VGS off. So -1 divided by -8 is going to be positive 0.125, correct?
Let's see.
Yes.
1 divide 8, right?
Yes.
1 divide 8. You get 1.25, right?
Yes. So then it's going to be
1
1.
minus 1.25.
Yeah. So then it's going to be 1 minus. Wait, it's going to be 1 minus 1.25?
1.25. Okay, this will come up with this one. 1 minus 0, 1.25.
Yes. Which
Then you square.
okay. And so that's 0.875 squared. 0.875 squared is 0.7656.
2.5. Yes.
Yes. Okay. And then we multiply that by 9.
By
By
10.
10.
By
10
10.
milliamps.
IDSS is 10.
Okay. Because I see equals 9 milliamps, which is okay. That's where I got messed up. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. So it's clear for everyone. Okay. Mosfet. The D, that's a metal oxide semiconductor FET. Okay. The D Mosfet can be operated up to mode. They get the D and the E Mosfet. So in the D Mosfet, they can show you P channel and an N channel symbol. When you see on that symbol, you recognize is it the N channel or the P channel. Okay. The D MOSFET can operate in the two modes. They can be a depletion mode or they can be enhancement mode. And sometimes they call it depletion enhancement MOSFET. Okay. Either positive or negative gate voltage can be applied. The depletion mode when the negative gate to the source. Okay. That means when they apply the negative voltage to the gate, that will be depletion mode. And if they get the positive gate applied to the gate to the source, that will be enhancement mode. So first thing when you see the symbol, you recognize N channel or P channel of the MOSFET, and they can be depending on, they can be depletion or they can be enhancement. Basically, based on the power applied to the gate and source. If negative voltage, they will be depletion. If positive, they will be enhancement. Okay, generally operate in the depletion mode. Enhancement MOSFET, okay, operate only in enhancement mode. They given you schematic symbol, N channel and a P channel. Okay. I make sure you try to keep reading over and over until when you see the symbol, you know that will be which one. Okay, E Mosfet, D Mosfet. Okay, channel A channel, N channel, or P channel. N channel require positive gate to the source voltage. P channel require negative gate to the source voltage. Equation transfer characteristic could differ from that of J FET and the D FET. So basically D FET, they can get the equation calculation we did for J FET, they will be applied also for D Mosfet, but not for the E Mosfet. E Mosfet, they get a minor difference. Now they're showing you the Mosfet transfer, okay, characteristic. So you can see EN channel here, they the same with the J FET we already done, and that P channel, okay? So the Mosfet, you can still apply the formula for the J FET we already done. Okay, now for the certain D Mosfet, IDSS equal 10 milliamp, VGS equal minus 8 volt. Is it N channel or P channel?
And
The answer, you say, I get the answer for you. The device has a negative VGS up. Therefore, it is N channel MOSFET. And now number B, they calculate the ID at VGS equal minus 3 volt. Formula we doing before still apply. ID equal IDSS times 1 minus VGS over VGS of square. Substitute, you can get 10 milliamp times 1 minus 3 divided minus 8, given to you 3.91 milliamp. And then they want to say, I want to calculate the ID at VGS equal plus 3 volt. Okay, same formula we apply. Only thing, substitute the value. VGS equal minus 3 now will be plus 3. And that given you answer will be 18.9 milliamp. So you get any question regarding into the calculation for the D Mosfet? The Mosfet, I said again, they still using the same formula for the J FET we already did before. Is there any question?
So this is just the same math?
Same thing.
Okay.
Nothing else. Now you do this for me. For the certain D Mosfet IDSS 18 milliamp, VGS plus 10 volt. Is it an N channel or P channel? Telling me.
P channel.
P channel. Why? The thing is VGS up equal plus 10 volt. Okay, very good. Then they want the ID at VGS 4 volt and VGS minus 4 volt. The formula is still using the same, right? ID equal IDSS times 1 minus VGS over VGS of square. That's a very basic, try to get along with that formula to calculation. Otherwise, later on, when you do the quiz, you don't know how to do your calculation. Okay? ID ID at 1 VG at off, and everything will be square. So you can apply for VGS equal plus 4 volt, see what you get, and you apply for VGS equal minus 4 volt. Whoever get the answer,
6.48.
okay, you can say for B, okay, you say ID 6.what?
48.
48 milliamp, right?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, and C, what I did. I want you to do, make sure you get the right answer. For some student still get a problem. So later on, they can try to figure out how come they get the answer. Then later on, you can get another, will be JFET amplifier. Okay, so when we go to on up those, we did, I think I did very good on the JFET for this semester. The thing each semester, I try to go over again. I try to see what else I need to ask, adding into the lecture. So help the student to understand.
Could you just go through that ID formula real quick?
So who get for number C?
I think B is not still incorrect.
Incorrect?
Yeah.
Who get the right answer?
I think that's this for C is 6.48. That's for C.
You say 6148. See, whoever doing a good math, try to get the answer. So the other, they don't know how to
Okay, so
do it.
4 divided by.
How much is B?
Let's see. Hold on. Let me see.
Sam, I think that was correct.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Yes.
Yeah, that was correct.
What ID equal?
10.8. Hold on. 18 times 1 minus
B
positive 4 divided by negative 8
0.48 for B.
square. Okay, so we got 18. Oops, entry. And that will be positive 10.
Letter B was 6.48.
Yeah, so yeah, B was 6.48 milliamp.
4 minus.
Amen. Go ahead and get the next one.
Can you put your calculation up for that?
And the C is 35.28.
Okay, I concur.
35.28.
You say 35.
5.28.
28. Yes.
Okay, any question on this example?
Formula breakdown for the answers.
The formula. What you want?
There was just a question regarding how to get the answer correctly with formula in the calculator.
I don't know. You substitute the value into the formula. You do your calculation. For example, you take 18 times 1 minus 4 divide to 10 and square. I said this have to be a no problem when you already get the value for a variable in that equation. That's why you can see I given you the e-calculation. E-calculation, that means you must be understand the formula. And you just do it by tell the computer do for you. Instead, you have to using your calculator. Okay? So that's
So, oh, sorry, I didn't interrupt.
go ahead.
So you do it twice, one with +4 and one with -4, and that's how you get B and C right there.
Yes.
Done. Okay. Boom. Oh my God, I did math. Oh my God.
Yeah, you did it. All right, Patrick.
Okay. Now go E Mosfet. The transfer characteristic are different. You see that? They don't have a VGS off. There's a VGS, but what they get is here, VGS TH. Okay. And that is for N channel or P channel of E Mosfet. Now, the equation for the parabolic transfer characteristic curve of the E Mosfet differ from that of the JFET and the D Mosfet because the curve starts at the VGS-TH rather than VGS up. We already recognize that. On the other one, they start with the VGS up. On this one, they start with the VGS-TH. Okay? That's a difference. The equation for the E Mosfet transfer will be calculated. Now you see the calculator ID will be a different formula. They not equal ID at that time. 1 minus VGS of square. Okay? So they equal K times VGS minus VGS TH square. The constant K depends on the particular Mosfet and can be determined from a data sheet by taking specified value of ID called ID on at a given value of a VGS. You have to reading over too many times so you're able to understand. Okay? Again, ID equal K. K, that they say a constant depend on particular Mosfet and can be determined from a data sheet they given to you by taking specified value of ID called ID on. So they given you ID on. At a certain VGS, you're able to calculate the K. Now, the data sheet example. Data sheet, okay, given to you a Mosfet ID on 500 milliamp minimum at VGS equal 10 volt and VGS TS equal 1 volt. They want to know the current for drain current for VGS at 5 volt. Okay, so you see they calculate the K. K equal ID on divide to VGS minus VGS TH. You know, that means from this formula here, if you want K, then K will be ID divide VGS minus VGS TH square. That coming out from this from ID formula. Then substitute to get 500 milliamp ID on given to you. And 10 volt minus 1 volt square. And that given you 6.17 milliampere per volt square. And next, using value of K, you can calculate the ID for VGS equal 5 volt. So ID equal K times VGS minus VGS TH square. You take 6.17 milliamp V square times V 5 volt minus 1 volt square. They given you 98.7 milliamp. So the calculation for the ID quite different from ID for JFET and for depletion region, Mosfet.
Mr. Pham,
Yeah.
could you please go back to the curve and point out the difference with the JFET about the BGS TH versus the BGS of.
No, on the eMOSFET you don't have a VG at all. Don't ask me why.
Okay.
They start from VGS TH. On the JFET they start from what? VGS off.
Off.
Okay, and that's why in that one the formula calculate the ID is quite different. The formula calculate for the JFET. JFET will be ID at that time VGS and 1 minus VGS off square, okay? However, for this in MOSFET, the formula will be ID equal K times VGS minus VGS TH square. And now they already telling you how to calculate the K, okay? K depend on MOSFET, okay? Can by taking the specified value of ID, they call ID on. They given you the ID on, then you're able to calculate the K. Okay, so first thing they calculate the K equal ID on divide VGS minus VGS TH square. How come we get this formula? Okay, this formula coming from this formula here. Okay, if I want K, then I have to take ID divide to VGS minus VGS TH. However, ID now must be ID on. We don't have an ID at in here. So that will be calculated K. Get any question how to do calculate the constant K value? Okay, if not, after you get the K, then you will be using K into the equation. Okay, this is the equation to calculate the current ID equal K. K you already calculate 6.17 milliamp per volt square time VGS minus VGS TH square. VGS they want at 5. So 5 minus VTH is 1 volt and square. Okay, so that's why you can see square and the square they cancel out. And you can get 19.8 milliamp. Okay, before we stop for this lecture, this point to get the quiz. I want you to telling me how you get to this related problem here. First thing, what they want to get the K first. Okay, and after you get the K, then now you can calculate the ID equal K times VGS minus VGS DH. And this will be square. That's how you can get the current ID. Okay, what K equal? Now, let's see.
It's 25.
Let's see, K equal ID on. Divide VGS, right?
Right.
Minus VGS DH. You get the answer, what the value?
You should put a
You
square
should put a square
on the
on
a square.
Oh,
Square.
okay. Yeah,
6.25.
okay, 6.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. The value 6.25. Let's see, the value will be milliamp per V square. Then now you substitute that value into the current to calculate the ID, telling me what the current ID you get.
25.
25.
25 milliamp, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so I will be stopping here next time. Okay, we keep going on this Mosfet. Okay, make sure you get the time, try to read over the handout. That will be help a lot when we go through with your guide. Normally, you see that you don't have to memorize any formula. However, normally they given to you, they given you the formula, and you have to know basically how do we calculation. Okay, any question, anything? Okay, if it's not, the thing is we have to make sure we can get enough time for your lab, for your quiz, so sorry. Okay, make sure you download the report for the quiz in the handout. Okay, now we go. normally when we take the test, I suppose to not allow any more students to get into the Zoom. The thing is when I using the keyboard or mouse to do something and they screw up the timer. That's why I recognize that.
Yes.
Okay, make sure you download. Okay, now I will be share.
Which one is A, B, or C?
That's why I want to see. Okay. Okay, just I stopped that one. I want to see. I run maybe a wrong. Um, I want to one week one.
It was the same as handout.
That's wrong. That's wrong. Sorry. That's the wrong one. I want to see the quiz. Okay, here. Okay, sorry. Now we will be doing that. It makes sense. Make sure on that one they already given you ID equal 5 million.
Hey, Mr. Pham, can you raise that up just a teeny bit?
What?
Can you raise that up just a teeny bit? So I can see the bottom of number 7.
No. The thing is when I run the slide show, I cannot doing anything, cannot moving up.
So 6 and 7 are the same question?
Well, a little different.
The timer is not working. Look like you got 1 more minute left.
It's still the problem.
Yeah, look like yeah, they only have 1 more minute left on this here.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll let it go. I don't know why. All the time.
Yes.
Okay. Try to see who can upload it. Okay, so get any question? We will stop now.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you, Mr. Pham.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a great night.
You too.
You-
Oh,
you
Mr.
too,
Pham,
thank
when
you.
you get a chance, can you upload the quiz?
Upload the quiz. It will be in the video.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
You are welcome. Okay, bye.